Hey everyone, Bobby Sawyer here. Welcome back to our probate and estate planning case study series. Today we're switching gears a little bit to something that affects thousands of families every year: guardianship and conservatorship. This is when an adult loved one may need protection from financial exploitation or undue influence, or another typical fact pattern we see is that there's no power of attorney in place, and so you have to ask the court for permission to manage a loved one's affairs because they've lost the ability to. This South Carolina case involves a mom in Charleston showing signs of cognitive decline and substance abuse with a former dog walker, while a former dog walker has moved in and is allegedly gaining more and more control. Neighbors, a housekeeper, and multiple police welfare checks have raised serious concerns. We're keeping every detail fully anonymous for privacy, but the facts are real and highlight classic warning signs any family should know and be on the lookout for. Quick disclaimer, I'm an attorney, so you know I'm going to do it. Most likely, I'm not even licensed in your state, and I'm most likely not your attorney. So before doing anything, consult with an attorney in your state if you have specific issues coming up. And this is for educational purposes only. This is not legal advice, as our fun little scroll down at the bottom will let you know. All right, so case background. Here we go. A woman we'll call Ann lives alone in the Charleston area. Over several years, her family noticed a slow decline in her cognitive ability and emotional state. Increased alcohol use in the evenings, reliance on prescription medications, including Xanax and other forms of both other prescriptions from a general practitioner and psychiatrist, and what appears to be short-term memory issues. About 1 or 2 years ago, Ann hired a local woman, we'll call her Amanda, as a dog walker and helper. That professional relationship gradually turned personal. Amanda eventually moved into the home. The family, including Ann's daughter, who was estranged, her ex-husband, and the son-in-law, started receiving concerning calls from Ann's longtime housekeeper, neighbors, and even Amanda herself. The housekeeper, who's in the house several times a week, reported seeing large checks being written in daytime drinking with prescription pills, which is never a good combination. And as I'm going through this, as always, if you have questions, drop them into the chat and I'll try to answer them as we go along, or I'll follow up later and follow another stream. So prior steps the family has already taken. They've asked for multiple welfare checks with the Mount Pleasant Police Department, some going back to 2023, a report to Adult Protective Services, and a background check on Amanda showing past charges for assault on an officer, DUIs, drug-related issues, and financial liens. Not the type of person you want having influence over an elderly person with in a fragile state. So, what's the core problem here? The family's biggest fears are financial exploitation and physical safety. The housekeeper has described Amanda, the dog walker that's moved in, demanding large sums of money, $700, $10,000, in front of her and Ann. Ann has reportedly told the housekeeper she's considering giving Amanda power of attorney because, quote, her family doesn't love her anymore. The red flags are piling up here. One, a living companion with a criminal background who is now day drinking and allegedly using substances with Ann. Increasing isolation. Ann's relationship with her daughter became fully estranged in November after repeated attempts to intervene in this situation. No formal medical diagnosis of cognitive decline yet, but clear patterns of confusion, unfounded accusations against others, and in the past, vulnerability. And then the risk of undue influence, possible power of attorney, deed changes, or draining of assets while Ann is under the influence. The family is especially worried about what could happen if something goes wrong, overdose, fall, or worse, and they're left wondering if they could have done more. Excuse me. So again, the red flags we're looking at: living companion with a criminal history, large unexplained checks, daytime substance abuse, talk of giving POA to the dog walker, the person that's moved in, and then multiple police and adult protective services contacts. Here's our client questions and our discussion. The family had some very practical questions we hear often in these elderly vulnerability cases. Can we get Amanda out of the house? We explained that if exploitation or incapacity is proven, a court-appointed guardian or conservator can remove harmful influences and secure the home. Do we need a formal diagnosis for it first? A diagnosis helps tremendously, but courts also rely heavily on independent evaluations ordered during the process. Essentially, the court will appoint a temporary guardian to do an independent assessment of Ann's living situation and her relationship with Amanda. Also, evidence like police reports, witness statements from the housekeeper, and financial records will help establish the case for a guardianship. Next question. How messy could this get? Very honest answer, it can become contested and may resist. It's very common when someone is in the early stages of dementia or Alzheimer's or losing capacity, they don't want to lose their ability to make decisions for themselves. The court will appoint someone to represent their interests, and there will be hearings, but having a strong paper trail like the welfare checks, adult protective services, and the housekeeper testimony strengthens the case of the children. The family's ideal outcome is to remove the immediate risk, protect Anne's finances and safety, and get her proper support, ideally with a trusted, vetted caregiver instead of the current situation. So here's our solution and what the next steps would be. Gather and organize all evidence, the police reports, APS reports, housekeeper statements, background check, and then pharmacy and doctor communications. File a petition for guardianship and guardianship, which is personal decisions, and then conservatorship, which are financial decisions, in the appropriate South Carolina probate court. Number 3, request court-ordered independent evaluations in a full financial review. And number 4, if successful, a neutral guardian/conservator can step in, remove any exploitative influence, secure the assets, and then arrange proper care. The goal is always the least restrictive option that truly protects the vulnerable adult while respecting their dignity. So, what are the big takeaways here and viewer tips? Number 1, living companions or caregivers can sometimes cross into exploitation, especially when substance abuse and isolation are involved. Number 2, the paper trail matters. Welfare checks, APS reports, witness statements, and background checks are powerful evidence even without a formal diagnosis of incapacity. And finally, South Carolina courts take elder vulnerability seriously, but the process requires clear proof of incapacity because, after all, they're taking away an individual's ability to make decisions for themselves, essentially more or less their freedom. But the process requires clear proof of incapacity and that a guardian is in the best person's interest. Pro tip: if you're worried about a parent or loved one, document everything in writing. Keep a log of concerning incidents, and don't hesitate to involve adult protective services or law enforcement early. You can always give them a call and ask them to do a welfare check on a family member that lives in a different city, or even if they live nearby. And then finally, a trusted professional like a longtime housekeeper can be your best source of real-time information. Today's real but anonymous case from our conservator guardianship consults. These situations are heartbreakingly common, but getting eyes on the problem through the court system can make a real difference. Unfortunately, it's not a quick process, but it will provide a solution. If you're dealing with similar concerns about a loved one's safety or finances, drop your questions in the chat. I'll answer as many as I can, or with a follow-up later. Tomorrow, we'll be back with another probate or guardian or estate planning case study. Hit follow, subscribe across every platform so you get notified when these pop up. And a way to prevent this from happening is getting a solid, durable power of attorney in place. Frankly, a good power of attorney should be a part of any estate plan. But at a minimum, if you have an elderly parent that you have concerns that they're starting to slip into dementia or lose capacity, get a power of attorney in place immediately. It'll save you all this trouble of having to establish a guardianship and conservatorship, which saves you a whole bunch of time and money. So final reminder, again, this is for educational purposes only, not legal advice. I'm Bobby Sawyer, and I'll see you next time on our probate case studies. Have a great afternoon.